Alright guys, this episode here I want to show you what I pulled out from the engine on this car here. These are the parts that I need to pull in order to remove the engine. As you can see, it's not very much, it's not very many. 2 drive shaft, engine mount, exhaust manifold, distributor, ignition coil, intake tube, plastic cover, engine cover, and all the nuts and bolts that I pulled out. I just toss everything in here. I know exactly where they go, so that's no problem. And those are all the parts I need to pull out. And that's the jack I'm going to be using to support the engine when I pull it out. And let's go here. I disconnect the fuel injection line, the fuel injector, all the sensors here. I disconnect them. I'm not going to pull the engine harness. I'm just gonna leave the engine harness on the van, and then just pull the engine out. So that's why I tied it right here. Okay. And let's go to the other side. And on this side, I disconnect the throttle cable. Let me just put this away right here. Okay, put it away. Inside here, I'm not sure you can see, but don't forget the ground cable, engine harness ground cable. Just disconnect that. Cold start injector, EGR temp sensor, and I disconnect the fuel line. I disconnect right here. You can also disconnect it at the fuel pump down there, but it's just longer when you do that, so I just like to disconnect here. Sometimes I can't do it here because it was too tight, and I disconnect it down there. And that's it from the top. And then from the bottom, let's go look at the bottom. As you can see, I disconnect the idle control valve. I disconnect the DPS and all these hoses, miscellaneous hoses right here. I'm not even gonna explain the way what they all are, but this coolant hoses and vacuum lines, and also the intake tube. I disconnect that, and in the front here, sat shaft, I disconnect that, and water pump thermostat, I disconnect that, and disconnect another coolant line from on top of the engine heater hose. I disconnect that, and then I remove the engine mount from here, and I let it sit. I let it sit on the oil filter. So as you can see right there, and let's go back this way. I remove the exhaust manifold. I remove the distributor. I remove the transmission oil, transmission fluid line. As you can see, I remove one end and just flip it over and hook it with the other hose, with the other line, so that it won't drip. Same as this one, just like that. And I disconnect the transmission plug, the neutral safety plug. And on this side, I disconnect the shift cable. Where did it go? Oh, it's down here. See, I disconnect the shift cable. I disconnected here because if you could disconnect it up here, it has an adjustment on it, and it could be out of adjustment if you disconnect up here. So it's best just to disconnect down here. Okay. Of course, the drive line here, all the way to the front. The rear drive shaft to here. And I removed the nut on the transmission mount on both sides. Okay. Right now, it's pretty much ready to come out. And next I'm gonna put that transmission lift there underneath, strap it down, and I'm gonna pull it down. That'll be on the next video. See ya.